So if you want to start something, if you have an idea, you're thinking about ideas, you shouldn't worry about, how big the impact is going to be, what the market size is, how much money you'll make. You should just focus on a very simple thing, which is what the problem is that you're trying to solve. And then, whether you can solve it meaningfully and actually have an impact on people's lives. Because when you think about all of these futuristic things, then you always get bogged down by them. So I think that's one. I think another would be, there's always this tendency to think, yeah, I'm only an engineer. Should I have a business co-founder? Should I have a marketing co-founder? So I wouldn't worry about a lot of that. I think having two people is good, so that you can bounce off ideas, but I wouldn't really worry about what their exact skill set is, or kind of like trying to have more. I think the most important thing is to get started. You wouldn't, you would probably do this multiple times. And I'll give you an example. When we were working on Pulse, we didn't really have an office. So we would end up working out of coffee shops. And so we would literally, show up at a coffee shop, buy a few coffees over the day, and write code right there. Right? And then we would have all of our users around us. And they would come up to us, they would play with the iPads, and we would just preload Pulse on their iPads. And so just by observing, how they use the app, what loopholes they run into, and the feedback that they gave us, we would take all of that, right? Improve our app, and the next day we would show it back to them, the coffee shops. So I think you don't know when you're doing this process, when you're actually iterating very fast and using prototypes, you don't have hard evidence, but what you do have is the feedback that you get from users. That tells you a lot. If it is solving the problem that they have, if they're really excited to use it tomorrow, if they want to talk to their friends about what you've built. I think a lot of those indicators, you get a sense that you're actually headed in the right direction. So one advice I always give to entrepreneurs is that try to have a profitable company, right? If you're launching your business, how do you make money of that business? Can you make money from the first day? Even if it is a little bit, Paul Graham talks about being ramen profitable. Once you are profitable, once you have, then a lot of times you actually get inbound interest from investors, right? Because you're actually doing much better than most other entrepreneurs. So I would encourage everyone to do that. So that way you have an upper hand when you're talking to these investors. They both have different pros and cons. So the way I would think about it is what an angel investor really brings is a lot more than money. You can actually tap her brain, her networks, her expertise. She's probably made the same mistakes before. And so if you're trying to think about bringing an angel investor in, I would think about all of those factors and actually bring the right people in. Because just bringing someone in for the small amount of money they give you is not going to be valuable in the long run. All of those qualities are necessary in a great product team. But I don't think they're necessary in a founding team. Right? You can be a single founder, which means you'll probably be really good at one area and decently good at many areas. Or maybe you and a friend start a company together where you have complementary skill sets. But it's never going to happen that the founding team is actually going to cover all of the different skill sets that you would need to build a great company. So my advice is, I think when you're starting out, I wouldn't really worry about covering all of the skill sets that I need in a founding team. I would just start either by yourself or with one other friend who your wavelength matches very well with. And then for everything else that you need, you can hire other people. Once you have a good idea, once you have a good product, once you have some money, you can actually hire a lot of good people to help you build a great product. I think raising money is a is a journey which is very unique to everyone. So I think there's a lot of mistakes people can make. one that definitely I've seen a lot of people make is optimize for valuations. I would say it's much better to bring on investors, especially when they're sitting on your board, that they're actually very well aligned with your vision. They're actually going to help you build the business by their experience or by the connections that they have, right? Versus just someone who's actually, maybe not going to help you too much, but gives you a much higher valuation. So I would optimize for the people that you're bringing on versus the valuation that you get. I think another mistake I've seen people make is raise too much money. Obviously, it's better to raise as much money as you can. That's usually the thing people say. But there is such a thing as too much money, because when you raise too much money, it just gets that much more harder to have an exit, right? So I think if you you want to set yourself up, when you're raising money, you also want to think about what the next milestone could be, whether you feel like you'll be able to achieve the next round and raise more money, or whether there are exit opportunities available to you that you can exit easily. What you don't want to do is raise so much money that the only viable exit maybe is going IPO or having a ridiculously large exit, which very few companies can offer to buy you for. So raising too much money is a big problem. I think another problem another advice that I would give is to raise from a few different investors. Doesn't have to be a whole lot, but I think having 2-3 investors in a round is actually a good thing versus just having maybe one investor. Because that allows you to just get more advice, more from everyone, but also avoid signaling risk in the next coming rounds.